All right, so thank you everybody for showing up today to Officer Infosession and speed dating. It's really great to have all of you. So if you're attending, you are probably interested in running for a officer position. But if you're not, or if you're on the fence, just in case, I would like to sell you a little bit on the idea of doing so. So first of all, by joining Officer Board, you get the chance to be part of one of the largest engineering organizations on campus. So every year we serve over 200 members and host over 100 events. And in fact, this year we were awarded the Outstanding Large Student Branch for IEEE Region 9. So you are joining a club with a history of excellence, for sure. In addition, IEEE is a club that is always trying new things and trying to improve on past iterations. So for example, this year you saw the new projects DAV and REP, as well as some new programs like AMP and GB takeovers, just to name a few. So you get the chance to really contribute to a growing organization and make a lasting impact. And lastly, I think the most important, in my opinion, are the people that you meet as being part of board. There are so many talented people on IEEE board, a lot of them with us here right now. And you can end up being really good friends with some of them. Some of them could end up being connections that help you, land that first job. But there's a ton of people that you get to meet and become really close with as a part of board. We also have a lot of officer-only socials and retreats. So for example, last year, we went to Joshua Tree. There's also been retreats like the Catalina Islands, so really fun stuff. And there's also spontaneous food outings to things like Koreatown and tacos. So that is definitely something that you get to reap the benefits of. Yeah, so I'm gonna pass it off to Kathy, who can tell you a little bit about how tonight is going to go.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming. I'm very excited for you guys to get to know our officers. Basically, it's pretty simple. We're just gonna do a short info session, which will last about like 30 minutes or so, where each of us will go over what our responsibilities are, what we expect, and what to look forward to if you are applying for that position. And then after that, we'll do speed dating. So our officers will all break out into breakout rooms, and you will basically cycle through the rooms every like 3 or 4 minutes and get to talk to each officer and ask any questions you have about running or their position.
All right, so real quick, let's just go over how the election process is going to go in general. And we'll be reiterating over this for our spring GM, so don't worry too much. But basically all applicants for officer board are going to submit a Google Forms application with short free response prompts, so nothing too long. And after that, your answers are going to be released to all voters or the interview board in the case of projects board. And there's basically two big different ways we're going to do things. So if you're running for an admin or executive board position, you're going to have to give a brief presentation and a Q&A on a specified election day, where eligible members who show up to that election get to vote. And if you are a projects board candidate, you're going to have an individually scheduled interview. And these interviews are going to have a technical, a behavioral, and also a mock lecture section of the interview, most likely. So for this next section, I'm going to hand it off to our officers, who will take turns explaining what exactly they do. So you get to learn a little bit about their roles. So first off, let's start with our admin board. So here's just a reminder of how they're appointed. And yeah, let's kick it off with Erica, our treasurer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Erica, your treasurer. So my responsibilities at IEEE include coordinating with the EC department on money-related matters. So this comes with managing reimbursements and also requesting parts order for all the projects. And this also includes creating and monitoring the budget. So I have to submit like an initial budget to the department every year, and then they have to either approve it. And then I also have to make sure that we keep on budget and we don't overspend or underspend as well. So I think the best qualifications for this role is being organized and knowing how to use spreadsheets, because the budget and all the parts orders you have to submit in the form of a spreadsheet. So also being able to keep track of everything is really useful. And another thing is that you'll have to write a lot of emails like coordinating with the department, and you'll also have to message a lot of the officers to make sure that they're on budget, or if they want to spend money, they have to come through you. And then just like some bonus things to know before you run is that this role is kind of a role where you get to interact with every other role because you have to manage the budget for everyone. So I think it's a really great way to get very involved in IEEE, even though it's more of like a beginner role. You don't really have to come in knowing anything, but it's better to be able to talk to everyone. And it's beneficial if you kind of go beyond your role and help other people when they need to gain a better understanding of their financial needs. But yeah, feel free to ask me any questions and come to my breakout room after this.
All right, so hi guys, my name is Pranav and I'm the Corporate Relations Officer for this year. So as corporate relations, their responsibilities include, accruing sponsorships and funding for idea hacks. So we work really, corporate works really close with the EVP and basically leads the corporate committee. So yeah, other than that, we plan and host industry events. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of or even come to like the Intel event that happened a couple weeks ago. That was done by me, the corporate relations officer. So what type of qualifications are best suited for corporate relations? One of the main things is leadership, because you have to be able to basically lead the corporate committee of idea hacks and make sure to keep everyone on track, answer any questions, and kind of be the point of contact for everyone. Additionally, you have to be able to communicate and be pretty organized. So as corporate relations, when it comes to being the corporate relations officer, you have to keep track of everyone in the committee, be the first point of contact for any of the sponsors, and basically help them set up for the event, and also the EDPs who rely on you to get funding for the event. It's really crucial. So you need to stay organized, whether it be with spreadsheets to keep track of where every company is with regards to getting sponsorships, etc. So yeah, so with regards to anything else applicants should know, kind of a benefit of being corporate relations is that it kind of helps build your personal network. You get to talk with a lot of industry representatives and get to learn a lot from them about their companies as well. And you get to, it's not a technical role per se, but you get to still make a really big impact on IEEE, even though you're not like leading a project, etc. So yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's me, the Secretary IEEE, and so the roles we play here as secretary is you get to manage the newsletter and Instagram publicity. Although this year, Solane kind of helps a lot with the Instagram publicity because she makes killer graphics, which you'll learn about. But mainly the newsletter, which I'm assuming all of you read because that's some great content, and you get to be in charge of that if you're the secretary. And this year, Kathy instated the alumni mentorship program, which I hope some of you have partaken in. And next year, that will be a secretary responsibility. So we'll show you the ropes of how to connect mentors with mentees and just get that program running. And since it just got piloted, you get to develop it a lot more next year. For this role, you should have some great communication skills and just a willingness to help other officers. Because like Eric said, this secretary is also a role where you get to work with all the other officers and kind of learn what everyone else does too, and help anyone when they need it. So other than that, just get excited because you get to really take Kathy's pilot and program and just take it to just amazing heights next year.
Hi, I'm Solane and I'm the Publicity Chair, and some of the responsibilities of Publicity include, I guess, just a lot of spreading the word about events and creating publicity. So I design event banners, and with Achintya, I run the social media accounts like Instagram, which is fun. Over the summer, I led the Idea Hacks Design Committee, so that was fun. And one other thing that I do is I design merch. So like the officer, like jackets or crew necks. And then also this year, the GB, or not GB, sorry, the like IEEE long sleeves, which you can kind of see in that picture. And then also in person, Publicity is in charge of taking photos at events and kind of just recording the memes. As for what kinds of qualifications, I think if you have like a willingness to learn design or like an eye for visual aesthetic, I guess. That's really helpful just for creating like visually pleasing graphics. And I just want to emphasize that like you don't have to have any sort of like graphic design experience, but just come prepared to learn. Like I had never done graphic design and before I became publicity, and neither had Albert, who was publicity before me, but I don't know, I learned a lot, and you can always come ask me questions too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace, and I'm your events coordinator this year. So about my responsibilities, the main responsibility of events coordinator is to organize the logistics for events between officers, especially project leads, if they have a lecture they want to host, and also communicating those logistics between the secretary and publicity, so we can communicate that to you guys. So it looks a little bit different with remote and in person. So remote is mostly coordinating links and doing other things that I will talk about soon. And in person, it is getting the keys for the rooms for lecture halls and making sure those rooms are booked, and also planning food. So something that's common with remote and in person is to manage the Google Calendar and spreadsheets, just so all the officers are aware about what's happening with other project leads and other officers. And then something else is facilitating socials with lab managers and other officers. So for example, this year, since things were remote and the responsibilities of the events coordinator changed, we launched GB takeovers, which hopefully you guys enjoyed, and that's something we want to continue in the future as well. So it's neat to have that creative liberty to choose whichever social initiative you want to take on. And then a big responsibility is hosting banquet. And for those of you who don't know, banquet is traditionally like a very fancy banquet at the end of the year that all the incoming and outgoing officers will attend. And hopefully next year, spring, it'll be in person. So you'll have a lot of fun organizing that fancy Italian place to go to. And in terms of the types of qualifications that are good for this role, it is very good to be organized with your spreadsheets, and also helpful in terms of helping out the other officers and collaborating with them to try out new things, whether that be new socials or new formats or new ways to do the website with the website manager. So that's something that is important there. And then a good this role is very good for people who want to try out IEEE board, especially if you're a first year in IEEE and you want to get to know more about what it's like behind the scenes. This is a great introduction.
All right, so next up is college outreach. So you may notice that I am not the current college outreach chair, and that is because the position does not exist yet, but next year it will. So just to give you guys a bit of background, Ops 2.0 is a program that we've kind of been running behind the scenes, but it's essentially a program where a team of us has been offering the curriculum in our Ops program to universities at various other colleges. So we've already launched it in 2 universities. Last fall quarter, we launched it at UCI, where it was really successful. They found it great for their members, got a ton of applications, and they are continuing with the program. And this quarter, or this semester, we are launching it with CMU, Central Michigan University. So we've already been growing the program a lot. There's a ton of new schools on the way. And we decided that it's reached a point where it merits its own position. So next year, we're adding the college outreach role. So the first responsibility is acting as the first point of contact for Ops 2.0, working to recruit and collaborate with members at universities throughout the nation. So if you are a fan of talking with people and getting to connect with lots of students at various organizations, kind of hear their struggles as a student branch and then help them problem solve, then this is definitely a really awesome role. You get the chance to meet a ton of people and also make a pretty big impact. In addition, another thing that we've been growing over the years are our technical workshops. So lately we've been working together with the Engineering Transfer Center to host workshops at local community colleges. So you will also get the opportunity to help plan those and basically bring a bunch of officers over in order to volunteer our time towards that. So what type of qualifications are best suited for the college outreach position? Number one is an entrepreneurial spirit. So I like to kind of think of Ops 2.0 as a bit of a startup. You get to give a bunch of presentations for funding. You get to pitch the idea to a lot of these prospective student branches and stuff. So by viewing the program as that and having an entrepreneurial spirit, that can definitely be a really big strength. In addition, if you enjoy interfacing with students and faculty and just meeting tons of people, then this is also a really great role for you. And another thing for applicants is that this is a really great opportunity to just leave your legacy on a new but fast-growing part of IEEE. It's something that Jackie and I have been working on over this past year, and it's just been really great seeing the growth, and we're super excited to see it reach even further heights with the College Outreach Chair. So there will be a lot of mentorship and a lot of help to kind of guide you along that path, but if you're looking to challenge yourself and take ownership of a really cool program, then definitely try out College Outreach. All right, so yeah, just to recap admin board, all these roles are beginner level, so you don't need any prior experience. So don't feel afraid if you kind of feel like, oh, am I gonna be able to do that role? There's gonna be a lot of help for you. People that I'm sure this year's officers are definitely very willing to give you a hand and also answer any questions you may have. So definitely contact them if you have any questions or if you're a little bit unsure. And it will help you grow into your role and really just do a great job. So don't stress too much about it. All right, next up is our projects board. So to kick it off, Jackie and Travis, take it away.
Hey guys. So if you've come to any of our wonderful workshops so far this year, you probably know the general idea behind what we do, and that is to create and deliver to you guys lectures on important electrical engineering and sometimes computer science topics, especially focusing on ones that don't get taught to people in their regular classes. And so as a workshop manager, workshop lead yourself, what you have to do is choose topics. That's something that we do new each year. Every year we choose a different set of workshops to do. And you make a whole new set of slides for every single workshop, focusing on the skills you think are most important for your workshop attendees to know. And the second part of that is you also want to design hands-on projects. There's been maybe slightly less of that than usual because of the remote format of this year, but that's definitely something that you want to do. And that can involve making your own projects and ordering parts for that, or using parts that are already in the IEEE lab, of which there's a lot, but that's something you're going to want to do as well. So another aspect of being a workshops manager is you want to be flexible going in with what workshops you're going to do. And that's going to involve talking to other IEEE projects leads about what maybe their students are struggling with, and maybe focusing workshops on that. And also just asking the people who are attending your workshops what they would like to see in the future.
And some qualifications you will need as a workshops manager include both hard and soft skills, which is basically required for all project roles. Some technical background that would be really good to have before coming in is having some experience in PCB design, breadboarding, soldering, the basics, knowing how to use microcontrollers, and experience with lab tools are recommended, but not really required because I know some of you have never actually stepped in the lab before. And some other soft skills that you would want is being approachable so that students aren't afraid to reach out to you for any questions that they might have, whether it be like school or workshop related. You should also be able to give a lecture and be comfortable speaking in front of others, because that's what you will do as a workshop lead for the rest of the year. And when you either do your application or in your interview, make sure you include how you would improve our current workshops program and how you would reach out to more students. And regardless of the situation for next year, how you would basically keep the workshop attendance high. We just want to learn more about your ideas and how you will impact the workshops for next year. And just to emphasize, workshops is the probably the most flexible project role since you have a lot of freedom in the content you can put out there and the projects you want to host. So if this is something you're interested in, please apply and feel free to reach out to me and Travis if you have any questions.
All right, so I am one of the current ops leads along with Taylor. First and foremost, as an ops lead, it is your main responsibility to create and develop lectures and projects for all of your ops members. Generally, ops is for entry-level students, so you need to develop these projects and lectures in a sort of natural progression. You can also develop your own ideas or adapt current projects and lectures. Additionally, ops is usually one of the largest projects we have in IEEE, so it's very important to keep the members engaged. This includes checkoffs so that you make sure that everyone's still following along and they don't get lost throughout the year, and some more fun things like competitions and socials that you are in charge of developing.
And yeah, if you're looking into becoming our next ops lead, it'll be good to have a good understanding of ops concepts to start with, but also genuine passion for helping, teaching, and getting to know your people, your project members. Be patient, organized, proactive, and approachable people, and be willing to learn, stress, and grow through the whole process. And if you guys have any questions about getting ready for the interview or not sure about if you should run, please feel free to talk to us. Yeah. And also, if you become ops lead, you get to be part of the IEEE board, which is a great experience.
Hello, I'm Bradley. Tyler Price is my co-lead. We're Micromouse co-leads. Yeah, so Micromouse is another one of our projects where you build a maze-solving robot. And generally for this role, you're going to have to be, you have to prepare to give, manage, and eventually grade lectures and assignments. Getting those all prepared, practicing those, and delivering them. You have to be available to help debug issues that come up as people go around implementing what you've taught them in lectures and assignments, more so towards the actual due date of the assignment than when they're assigned, because we all like to do things at the last minute, so sometimes stuff can get a little bit stressful with that, or not necessarily stressful, but just busy. You want to make sure that the base curriculum works, so all the components, the whole RAP program, all the assignments, you want to make sure that those are actually valid, and even expand upon those to make it more interesting. And you have to do some logistical stuff also, just to manage parts orders, make sure everyone has the components they need, maybe do some kit assembly if necessary.
Yeah, so another fun responsibility you could take on as Micromouse lead is doing some fun R&D to potentially either expand on the curriculum or adapt it or just make it better. So an example of a couple things Bradley and I have done this year, we kind of upgraded our maze simulator for one of the spring quarter assignments. This year, we also, this is more specific to this year, but we did a whole cardboard laser cut maze kit thing. So those are just a couple examples of things you can do as a Micromouse lead that go beyond just the base curriculum. Now, as far as qualifications we're looking for, obviously a strong grasp of the fundamental concepts covered within Micromouse. So things like motor control, embedded programming, circuits on the RAT. Basically, having a strong grasp on these things will enable you to effectively teach them to students. Okay, then going off of that, this is at the end of the day a teaching-oriented role, so you should either be comfortable already with teaching people, or you should be enthusiastic about becoming comfortable with teaching people. So definitely something we're looking for in candidates. Now, anything else you guys should know? It's been really exciting being leads this year for Bradley and I. It's really exciting helping someone debug and then seeing them finally get the RAT working. And yeah, Bradley, you want to finish off?
Yeah, so again, a lot of stuff has been different this year, as we mentioned. Tyler and I, Tyler made the whole cardboard maze. We had to redesign the wrap PCB, and it changed a lot. So feel free to reach out up to us about if you have any questions about what it looks like on a more typical year with in-person wrap competition or a different wrap program, changes with that. If you notice, it also was lots of fun just to spend time in the lab working with the wrap PCBs. You can see in the bottom right corner, there's the whole fleet of wrap PCBs, and it's been a fun experience doing that. So yeah, we hope you guys apply, and we'd love to talk to you more. So come to our breakout room afterwards and talk to us more.
Hello, so I'm Aaron. I'm one of the AP Aircopter project co-leads this year. And so for Aircopter project, your responsibilities include development of the AP curriculum. So this year, Eric and I, our primary change was to shift from a previous development environment to Cube IDE. And we're going to talk to you about that a little bit more in the breakout room later if you're interested. And we also have to design the lecture and labs every single year to cover all of the associated topics for constructing your own aircopter. And along with conducting design reviews and reviewing parts orders. And for this, we actually communicate a lot with the treasurer, Erica, along with the project lab managers and other project leads as well to discuss what we should do and like the best course of action in specific situations. And on the top right, you can actually see my desk earlier this week when I was trying to debug some live expressions issues in Cube ID, and then Eric.
Yeah, so in terms of qualifications, typically you want someone that was part of AP. Of course, if you're like have some outstanding experience with drones, like we wouldn't be opposed to that. But overall, you need a solid foundation, a foundational understanding of concepts that we teach. And with that, trying to help people and teach people and help people basically develop their own skills to be able to build their own drones. Secondly, AP, even though it's like one of the older projects compared to the two new projects we have, it's still only like 4 years old, I think. So there's still a lot of improvements to be made, and every year us as AP leads get to really get involved with what we do with the drone. So having initiative and recognizing things that can be improved upon is definitely a plus. You must not hate electrical engineering. It's kind of like all of AP, so don't hate electrical engineering. And also, it just happens to be that every AP lead kind of has a name that can be used in the Aircopter pun. So if you have that, like we'll keep an eye out for you.
And anything else that applicants should know. So I don't know how it is with like the other projects specifically, but at least with AP, we've been able to communicate with past leads a lot. So for example, it's kind of like in the avatar where like all the different avatars in the past can like communicate with one another. So this year, the AP lead from like 2 years ago, Kenny, he helped us a lot with redesigning the AP airframe to increase like the service area. A lot of details behind that, but yeah. So you, as an Aircopter project lead, you have a lot of people in the past who can try and help out. So you got a lot of networks. And on top of that, yeah, if you guys have any questions, come to our breakout room if you're interested. Yeah.
Hi, y'all. It's Brandon, one of your DAV leads this year.
And I'm David, the other DAV lead. And as the DAV leads, you have to plan and implement the DAV curriculum. And as you all know, DAV is one of the 2 new projects this year for IEEE. So it's really exciting. It's like our little baby, and you get the responsibility of bringing DAV up to the level of the other projects, because other projects, Ops, Micromouse, AP, they're all really well established. But DAV is still new, so there's still a lot of space for you to make improvements and adjustments and really implement your vision into the projects. And especially next year, it's going to be the very first in-person year of DAV, so you get to oversee that as well. And as for the qualifications that are best suited for a DAV lead, of course, we want to see a solid understanding of all the concepts that we used in DAV. And you also need a willingness to help people debug a lot of the issues that come along with the project, because digital logic, Verilog, FPGAs, it's pretty new for a lot of people.
Yeah, and on that note of it being new to a lot of people, you have to be able to kind of explain explain the concepts well, and also explain the projects well to probably members that haven't touched this stuff at all. And you also, this is the first iteration of DAV. There can be many more, and so we're looking for people that are willing to take initiative to make improvements to not only the overall DAV project, but also the curriculum we've already established. So if you're interested in being your DAV lead, we've done something great here, but you can make it even better. And next year, David and I will still be here to help you debug, come up with new ideas, and kind of make DAV even better. If you're interested in or unsure you want to run, come to our breakout room.
All right, the other new project, RAP. So, the whole purpose behind RAP is building wireless transceivers. And so one of the biggest responsibilities is being able to understand the circuits and concepts involved, and be able to build things and prototype. So of course, there's lectures and assignments, teaching people these concepts. So those are the main responsibilities, similar to the other projects. In terms of qualifications, I'm looking for people with a passion. If you don't like this stuff, I don't think you'll have fun being a RAP lead, but I think it's pretty exciting stuff, as you can see by all the pictures. Then of course, there's a willingness to learn. So, people that are in the project, you don't necessarily know everything involved. And so being a lead, you have the opportunity to learn way more than what's mentioned in lectures. And being willing to learn that stuff will make you much more successful. And I write there, past soldering experience recommended, because there's a lot of soldering. Other info. So this is a new project, and so there's currently one RAP lead available, and that RAP lead will be available for any questions in the future. He won't go silent. And the biggest thing is an opportunity to learn, advanced topics that really aren't taught at the undergraduate level at UCLA or any other school. So that's RAP.
All right, hello everyone. I'm one of the project and lab managers, and Caleb is the other one. So some of the responsibilities that we have are overseeing all of IEEE's projects. So that just includes approving parts that project leads want to order, and also providing technical guidance and or manual labor to those project leads. We also manage the lab space and part stock and assist with idea hacks, part selection, and checkout/shipping.
As for qualifications, for those of you who are looking to be a first-year officer, unfortunately, the PLM role is reserved for previous officers on project board. But if you are interested in being a first-year officer, feel free to talk to us. We've been through the interviews. We've been the interviewee, interviewer. So we can give you tips on your lectures, your preparation, anything you might need. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us.
All right, thank you, Projects Board. And the last is our Executive Board. So once again, if you guys are looking for your first officer position, unfortunately, the roles within Exec Board are limited to either current officers or officers from last year. So still keep it in mind, could be a future role for you guys too, if you are looking at a first year officer role. So first off, we have Kathy.
Hey everyone, I'm Kathy. I'm the IVP for this year. You probably already know me from GB. So yeah, my responsibilities are to run general meetings every quarter. So that's once a quarter, fall, winter, and spring. I also collaborate with HCAN and WAT to run and plan EC Town Hall. Again, I run general board, although I don't have time for my own because I'm so busy making it special for you guys. And also planning club-wide socials, which is a bit hard because of COVID, but usually in person we'll have things like barbecues, going to get food in K-Town and other fun stuff like that. And then lastly, I know Secretary already talked about this, but I did start AMP this year. But that is one less thing to worry about for next year since it's now a secretary responsibility. Qualifications, you must have been a previous officer, prefer you to be organized, effectively communicate, have great speaking skills, ability to plan ahead, like a lot of these other roles have. And then prior experience planning socials or events within IEEE is definitely preferred. And to be genuinely passionate about bringing members together and planning fun events, because that always makes the role more special and rewarding. And then lastly, it would be really great to consider ways to improve what's currently being done or propose new ideas. For example, a previous IVP did introduce a virtual reality conference that we had for a day. So people came out to that and were able to test out different VR games and stuff like that. So yeah. Albert and Jay.
I'm dead. Was I muted?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I goofed. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Albert. I'm one of the EVPs.
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm the other EVP.
Okay, yeah. So we are in charge of planning SPACs and idea hacks. SPACs is usually SPay for SPAC with a C, not an X. But this year, being remote, we focused most of our efforts on planning idea hacks, organizing committees, getting sponsorship funds, working with Pranav and Selene and all the other committee leads, and making sure that idea hacks happens virtually. Hopefully next year it'll be in person. Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the qualifications that we're looking for, you must have good organization.
And SPACs are usually company outreach. We have
All right, I'll continue.
Did I cut
yeah,
out?
I think so.
Oh my god.
All right, so some of the qualifications that we're looking for, you must have good organization, communication, and leadership qualities. You're going to be talking to a lot of people inside and outside of IEEE, going to be sending a lot of emails, and you must have been a previous officer or have gotten a recommendation, but that happens very, very rarely. And then finally, you must be very passionate about how idea hacks works. And yeah, you must be willing to be flexible depending on how COVID turns out.
Yeah. So other things about EVPs. So to start off with, idea hacks is truly an experience. It is tough, but after idea hacks happen, you chill and you play hard. Just kidding. But yeah, we will be there if you have questions. We were spamming the two Michelles, which are the two previous EVPs, a lot this year.
Yeah, and also it's going to be hard work and a lot of time commitments, but you'll be very proud of yourself in the very end, and then you'll be able to tell other tales that will live the times on.
All right, I'm hearing that the slide is a bit wonky from a couple people, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop share and then reshare. Okay. Can you guys all see the slide properly now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so on to president. So real quick, a couple of my responsibilities include creating an overall vision for IEEE and then aligning the officer board towards that common goal, coordinating and running the weekly officer meetings, as well as representing the club and its members for various external facing events. Now that's a pretty brief summary, but the president role is honestly, it honestly gives you a lot of freedom to kind of do what you feel is important. But I would say, to summarize the president role, you're basically just you're there for your officers, and you're there to connect them in order to, you're there to kind of see what issues they're having and help them solve them, and really just make sure that the club as a general is running smoothly. So what type of qualifications are best suited for the role? So number one is being passionate about IEEE. So you love IEEE and you want to see it succeed, and you have some ideas for how you want to accomplish that. And also not only being good at speaking and pushing your own ideas, but also being a good listener and hearing other people out and being able to represent others in meetings like with the faculty or at town halls, etc. And anything else that applicants should know? Well, just like anything in life, practice makes perfect, and the president role is no exception. I think that if you're looking for a role where you can grow a lot and have a big impact, that is definitely the president role. So if you guys are thinking about running for president, then definitely please feel free to join my breakout room or send me a message offline, and I'll be happy to take any questions you have. All right, so that about wraps up the officer explanations. Linked here is our election doc. So there's a tiny URL for your convenience, and it basically goes over most of the information that we went over today. And here's just our dates for elections. So our exec board elections are going to be week 3, our admin elections are going to be week 4, and then our project interviews are going to be weeks 5 and 6. But we'll be releasing the actual application come spring general meeting, so you guys can sit tight until that comes. All right, so I'm going to pass it back to Kathy, who can explain how our speed dating portion of tonight's event is going to work.
Thanks, Brian. Next slide, please. So now's the speed dating portion. I know the info session part took a little bit longer than we expected, but that's okay. Basically, if you want to stay, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can also leave. But basically, these will be the breakout rooms. There will be 11 of them for all of our officers, excluding a few. And then depending on how many people there are, I estimate there will be around 3 audience members per room. And then it's going to be about 4 to 5 minutes per room because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So now, we can stop